Welcome. I will now call the Affordability Committee meeting to order. This meeting is being held in person and electronically in accordance with the Municipal Act. There is one public meeting being held this evening. If you are joining the meeting virtually and have not yet registered and wish to speak, please email cityclerks@barrie.ca and staff will email you the information to participate virtually. The purpose of this second public meeting on the matter is to review the official plan amendment application in order to make the city's official plan consistent with the provincial planning statement, which came into effect on October 20th, 2024. Members of committee will be listening to the presentation and comments received during the public meeting, but will not be making comments or debating the items tonight. Committee members will have an opportunity to provide comments when the staff report is considered by General Committee at a later date. Interested persons wishing to receive notification of the staff report can sign the notification form at the back of the council chambers or by emailing cityclerks@barrie.ca. Michelle Banfield, Executive Director of Development Services, would you please confirm that the notifications were conducted in accordance with the Planning Act for tonight's public meeting?
Yes, Chair Nixon, it was.
Thank you. I will now call upon Celeste Katzebtree, Supervisor of Growth Management in the Development Services Department, to provide the presentation concerning an official plan amendment.
Chair Nixon, members of committee, staff, and the public. As noted, the meeting tonight is to present an amendment to the city's official plan to be consistent with the new provincial planning statement called the PPS, specifically related to the employment land use component. The PPS is required to be followed by all municipalities when making decisions under the Planning Act. It provides general direction to municipalities. Pardon me, I forgot to change the slide. It provides general direction to municipalities when planning for the future of our community, including the protection of lands for housing, natural resources and open space, and jobs. We are required to provide land for all land uses, including the protection of large tracts of strategically located land for employment uses. A public meeting was previously held for the city-initiated official plan amendment in February of 2025. And when a report was brought forward to council, it was sent back for additional stakeholder discussion. Staff have held extensive stakeholder engagement over the summer and fall of 2025 to listen to concerns from local businesses, local owners, and their representatives. Overall, we heard that they wanted more flexibility with the permitted uses in employment areas. The new definition of employment area impacts the existing and recently approved developments in the designated employment area because institutional, commercial, and office uses are no longer permitted unless they are directly supporting a primary industrial use. This new definition excludes uses that were previously permitted throughout the city's employment area. Existing areas that are largely commercial and personal service focused do not meet the new definition. The intent of this definition change by the province is to ensure municipalities continue to protect lands for employment and prevent the encroachment of sensitive land uses. Any existing land uses are able to remain, expand, and continue to operate as they do now, regardless of what is being proposed in this official plan amendment. As a municipality, we are obligated to protect for strategically located land for jobs. The community structure map in the official plan includes the identification of major transit station areas, the urban growth center, natural heritage features, and targeted employment areas. This map will continue to identify lands targeted for employment uses, with a minor change in the wording to recognize employment land rather than employment area. Those lands designated as employment area non-industrial, as well as additional targeted intersections, have been removed from the employment land shown on this map because they do not meet the new definition of employment area. Industrial uses are still permitted in these areas. However, they are not protected outside the identified employment lands. Staff have proposed to rename the employment non-industrial designation to business commercial. The permitted uses are not recommended to change in this designation. These areas are intended to transition and buffer industry from residential neighborhoods. From our consultation, it was apparent that most landowners would prefer the flexibility of the business commercial designation. However, making this change would mean that there would be limited employment lands left in the city. As a municipality, we are required to provide for and protect employment lands. In addition to changing the employment non-industrial designation to business commercial, staff have come back to establish criteria to recognize existing uses, multi-unit built form, and general location to change pieces of the employment industrial lands to either the business commercial or a new service industrial designation. Service industrial is intended to provide the balance between removing employment lands and allowing more flexibility to recognize existing businesses, trades, smaller size lots, and multi-unit buildings. These areas would not meet the new definition of employment area, but are intended to support the growth of industry and economic development opportunities for the city. The service industrial designation still provides the opportunity for more flexible land uses similar to the business commercial designation, with the exception of sensitive land uses. The service industrial lands are generally located in direct proximity to employment areas and freight supportive corridors, which should be protected. A comparison chart of permitted uses is available for these new designations, and there are many similarities. The key difference between the more sensitive uses, such as daycares, places of worship, and recreational establishments, are not permitted in the service industrial designation to preserve the integrity of existing and future development in the employment industrial areas. That comparison chart was attached to the memorandum as Appendix D and is available on the city's official plan site as well. As shown on the map in shades of purple, there continue to be pockets of employment industrial land that are still protected under this new framework, including large tracts of vacant and strategically located land for jobs. The maps are attached to the memo provided by staff and also can be accessed for more detailed review on the official plan page of the city's website. As a municipality, we need to ensure that we protect for employment area uses under the new definition from the province. These lands would ideally be in direct proximity to the arterial and collector road network, accessible to the Highway 400 and rail system, and prevent the encroachment of general commercial and more sensitive land uses can impact the establishment and expansion of employment uses. The service, industrial, and business commercial lands will continue to be employment generators and are intended to buffer and transition employment land from neighborhood areas. All details related to this amendment can be found on the city's official plan webpage. Staff will consider the correspondence and comments received as part of this amendment process and will report back to Council with a new staff report and recommendation in the near future. This concludes my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I believe we have one member of the public who has pre-registered to speak virtually. No, I believe we do not then. If there are any members of the public who wish to provide comments, please approach the podium and begin by stating your first and last name and address for the record.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. My name is Angela Baldwin. I'm a land use planner with Baldwin Planning and Development Consultants, and I'm here tonight to make just a brief presentation with respect to just a few concerns that certain of my clients have with respect to the service industrial designation. So first off, we'd like to thank staff. We actually have had a lot of meetings with staff over the last few months. We went and did, a review of various properties in town, And I say there's quite a variety of sort of mixed use, what we used to call the light industrial uses all over the south end of Barrie primarily. And that's an area that we're focusing in on. So these are the multi-use buildings, sometimes 5, 10, 17 units within one building that have a variety of uses. And we called them light industrial for lack of a better term. Those that was the zoning on those properties. And I'm here to talk about a few in particular, but just about a request for additional permitted uses in the service industrial designation. So I'm here specifically representing Belgro, Deaver Holdings in Simbra, which is Dean Bell, his properties that Dean's familiar to a lot of you on council. And he owns lands at 51 King and 61 King, units 5 and 17. And that building is a real variety. It has a restaurant, office use, medical office, health establishment, a fitness club. And so right now, the proposed designation is service industrial. And service industrial would not allow, based on our recent discussions with staff, recreational establishments. So things like fitness clubs, things like commercial schools, so i.e. Dance studios, gymnastics studios, et cetera. We see these around town along Welland Road, along Hooper, along the various south end streets. And we'd like to request that those uses be permitted to continue. It's an important part of the way those lands have developed that these are part of the permitted use. They traditionally have their hours of operation, their busier times are post-school departure times, so from 4 p.m. onwards and on the weekends. So they're in areas that traditionally don't have what we would call the heavy manufacturing in our communities. So less chance of interference, of non-compatibility, et cetera. So specifically, health and fitness facilities, so gyms, commercial gyms, et cetera. Recreational establishments, things like jungle gyms, trampoline centers, those types of uses, and then the commercial schools being the dance schools, the karate studios, gymnastics studios. These are all uses that I think have worked quite well in the light industrial zone, and the properties that I just referenced, and also his other two main properties being 710 and 17 Huronia Road. That's on the west side of Huronia, south of Saunders, north of Lockhart. That's also an area with a variety of these types of uses mixed in with retail, service, industrial, et cetera. So we think, we've made a lot of progress with staff working on the list of uses that could be permitted. But we feel that if we could get these uses back in, they are allowed in the light industrial zone today, and all of these properties I've referenced are within the light industrial zone. It just allows maximum flexibility for the owners. Everyone's trying to lease out their buildings, and if we can have uses that, as I say today, are currently allowed, it gives them flexibility down the road. I think it's uses that traditionally have been allowed and that are, have not resulted in major incompatibility issues. And we certainly look forward to talking with staff more about this. I know they're open to discussion. We wanted to raise it tonight just to have it on record, and I'm open to any questions if you have any.
No, thank you very much. Ms.
Thank
Baldwin.
you. Thank you.
Are there any other members of the public who wish to provide comments? Oh, Mr. Hay, please approach the podium, state your first and last name and address for the record.
Thanks. My name is Wayne Hay, and I am at 150 Dunlop Street East, downtown. I have more of a question which would lead into my comments, and I'm not sure where my question is being directed to, but it's just regarding the option of grandfathering with non-conforming uses, and with the grandfathering, whose responsibility will be to follow that grandfathering process? Is that the landlords? Is that the realtors? Is that the cities? Will there be a central registry that we can go to understand exactly what those conforming and non-conforming uses will be down the road when a use leaves, a gym leaves a space, another use goes in, a gym wants to go back in. Where will we find that information ongoing in years to come? Not that it's going to be my problem, it's going to be the guy behind me's problem. So I don't know if I can get that answer or if that's something that can be addressed in follow-up.
Yeah, I believe in this forum there is no space for questions and answers, but Ms. Banfield is made aware of your comments, and I'm sure her or someone in her staff will get back to you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Do we have anyone else, any other members of the public who wish to provide comments? Does not appear so. Okay, thank you. That concludes that portion. We will move past open delegations, presentations, standing items, deferred items. We have 2 advisory committee reports to be received. Received on consent. Thank you. And that takes us to adjournment. That concludes the Affordability Committee meeting. The meeting is adjourned. And we will convene. Well done. We will convene at 7 o'clock for a general committee.